Sports Junkies here at RacineSportsZone.com. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer, 105.7 FM The Fan, and AM 1250. Coast the weekday afternoon show called The Wendy's Big Show with Gary Ellerson and Rami Makloff. He, of course, Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. Time to do a little Packer talk. The Packers continue rolling, undefeated yet again, and the Packers' defense just gets better and better and better, Gery Woelfel.
And their offense doesn't get better and better. And who would have thought going into this season that you'd have more concerns about their offense than their defense? The defense is going to be really good by the end of the year, and I think that's going to help them for their playoff push. But their offense is not in sync for whatever reason, and I'm not sure if it's the loss of Nelson, the offensive line. I mean, Rodgers is still playing at a pretty high level, but nevertheless, you know what I thought was interesting is Eddie Lacy. How many times do you think he's had a 100-yard game this year?
Once?
Zero. And this is the guy the fantasy people are thinking should be the number 1 or number 2 pick. He's been, for whatever reason, he hasn't been that integral part of the offense that you thought he was.
Well, I mean, he's still getting his touches. His touches are down from last year, but remember, he left the one game hurt, and that's part of the reason why his touches are down a little bit. But he's still in the area of 17 to 19 carries a game, somewhere hovering there when he's actually playing full games. Now, having said that, let's talk about, I want to go back to this defense just for a little bit, if you don't mind. Clay Matthews is playing out of his mind. B.J. Raji is playing out of his mind as well. Those two guys seem to really be making this defense go at this point. Is Matthews, B.J. Raji, and Mike Daniels, of course. Mike Daniels playing better than any 3-4 defensive tackle going right now.
Yeah, and you know they're going to have Burnett probably back this Sunday, which would be a big plus. I mean, I think Burnett, in my mind, next to Matthews, is the best player they have on defense. I mean, that's just a personal assessment. But
I like Daniels.
For the last couple of years, this guy has really made a lot of tackles. I mean, he's been among the leaders.
Yeah.
He's been the Packers' leading tackler. And to get his experience back in the backfield of sport, especially now when you're going to be facing
Phillip Rivers
this week, and then you're going to have Peyton Manning a couple weeks after that.
I'm not sure Manning can even get the ball to where Morgan Burnett lines up at safety.
Don't say that. I'm not writing the old man off yet. He's pretty talented. And but again, when you play teams with good quarterbacks, it's really, really essential to have a great free safety.
Well, the other thing, too, about this is as good as that defense is playing, we talked about Matthews, we talk about Raji, Mike Daniels, like I said, according to Pro Football Focus, he's number 1 amongst defensive tackles. J.J. Watt is 3rd, I want to say, right now, based on his play to this point. But
I mean, this is an overall scheme of
just 3-4 defensive tackles.
Yeah, okay.
Now, look at the cornerbacks, okay? Casey Hayward, I'm not a huge fan of Casey Hayward. I think he's okay. I don't think he's great. But now you look at Randall and Rollins, both of Ted's picks. Rollins gets a couple picks this week. I'm telling you something. Those two cornerbacks may be the future cornerbacks for this football team going forward with Sam Shields. It may be those three may be your nickel package next year. I don't know where Casey Hayward fits in.
I don't have any doubts about that. I've talked to a couple pro scouts, and the big rap on Casey Hayward is his speed.
Right.
And when you play fleet-footed receivers, he's going to have trouble. And that's where I think if the Packers do not reach the Super Bowl, it's going to be because of their cornerback situation. They're going to take advantage of it. You saw a couple times this year where they've already done that.
Sure.
And those rookies just aren't ready to play at that high level. But I agree with you. Down the line, I have no doubt both those two are going to play either as starters or first guys off them.
So you look at the secondary, right?
Yeah.
I look at the wide receiving core right now.
Yeah.
And you don't have that guy that can pop the top. Now, you'll get that guy back next year, Jordy Nelson, okay? But if I was saying to you, okay, Gary, the NFL draft is next weekend. Give me your top 3 priorities that you want to address in the NFL draft as it currently sits. If you're Packers general manager Ted Thompson, now I know. Before you tell me, well, Ted doesn't draft for need, Sparky. Ted drafts best of everyone.
No.
Stop.
You know, that's a myth.
Just stop.
That's a myth.
I agree.
Because, I mean, he drafted 2 cornerbacks. That was with the idea of filling a need. It had nothing to do with best players.
So, having said all of that, what do you think of the top 3 areas right now that if you look at this Packers team? Because, I mean, some people are talking about them going undefeated. People are talking Super Bowl, all that. But it's not a perfect team. Nobody has a perfect team. So right now, 1, 2, 3. Because the reason I ask is Gary Ellerson of the Big Show, former Badger and Packers running back, says wide receiver, they have to go find a wide receiver next year.
Yeah, I think they should try to find a wide receiver this year. I'll go one step further. The guy at Tampa Bay, his name eludes me, Vincent Jackson.
Yeah.
If Tampa Bay struggles, they're going to be more than happy to get rid of them down the stretch.
So. Yep.
You know, and there's going to be other teams that are going to be giving up players as cost-cutting measures. Thompson should jump in and say, "Hey, get
Vincent
that guy."
Jackson would be a huge.
He would, and I think he would put them over the top. My number one pick, if I was the Packers at this stage, and it's not even close, is tight end. They have run-of-the-mill tight ends. Richard Rodgers is a nice short possession receiver.
Right.
He doesn't scare anybody.
Agreed.
He's not going to get deep on you down the middle. They put him in the backfield for blocking purposes at times. He's a horrible blocker. I'm a big fan of McCarthy's, but when he puts him back there, more often than not, he just doesn't make the block.
Well, part of the reason is you have Kuhn at fullback.
Correct.
Which they don't use nearly enough, in my opinion, as a fullback. And Ripkowski, who's a rookie, they're not playing him outside of special teams.
But
so that's part of it.
He's the heir apparent to Kuhn.
Kuhn, right. Yeah, absolutely. Probably maybe as early as next year. No question about it. So next up are the Chargers. Do they beat the Chargers?
They're going to beat everybody, Steve. I said this 2-3 weeks ago.
You're staying by that?
I'm staying by it. And you know, I saw Corliss made a comment about going undefeated a couple weeks ago. So it's in some of their players' minds as well.
He's Gery Woelfel. I'm Sparky. We'll talk to you next time here at RacineSportsZone.com. Another edition of Sports Junkies. Talking a little pack of football.